Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 2. Been a while, new year and everything, but again, as usual, pilgrimage and everything. So, first of all, let me see. I forgot if in the end of the previous part we had talked with the crestfallen warrior
There
here.
are
Let's
four
see.
beings in this land with giant souls. And wherever you go from here, you'll sooner or later come up against them. Each has a powerful soul and a terrible curse. If that frightens you, then you ought to just give up right now. Like I have.
Well, you're fun in parties. Alright, we also had noticed that the one person here was locked actually outside of his place, so we need to find the key to actually open the smithy. The pizza place, but alright, if I recall correctly, we have checked everywhere else, so again, it's been a while, forgive me for not remembering everything. Let's take this, if I recall correctly. Stage 2, because Majula is essentially a bit of a more open up hub that actually, you know, leads you to different places that are more important. And if I recall correctly, we're going to go through one of the easier ones, starting one. My blessing.
I mean, good luck finding your house keys around here, though.
Alright, it should be around this. Oh, right here. Also, the lighting sometimes gets completely fucked. Also, apparently a lot of people died in this place. I guess they tried to fight this guy. What a shiny sword. Who you might be, sir?
It will be a shame if we had to get blood on it.
This god awful statue. Heavens above. Who thought it a good idea to put it there?
A statue, huh?
I'm in quite the pickle now. See that statue? Gives me the willies.
My mother made that statue. Die!
It starts to look alive.
Wait, so we're not doing that. We're not attacking NPCs like out of nowhere.
There are no crafts.
Besides, this one is actually being very polite, very actually polite.
A real live person.
I mean,
Also, you're not the one playing Dwarves.
I'm sure. I mean, by the time we're recording this, Elden Ring has already come out and people have finished it. You know, through and through. But I'm sure you've heard about the memes about you know, having no maidens whatsoever.
Yes.
And basically, the very first NPCs. Actually, no, this is definitely the wrong way. The very first NPC that you find in Elden Ring, right after the tutorial, you'll think will tell you some words of encouragement, telling you where you might be supposed to go and everything. But the first thing that it tells you is that you're essentially, you know, without a maidenless, as in without, you know, a companion, and it basically tells shame on you because you're a virgin and everything.
You're a
This
bitch.
maidenless behavior.
Yeah, you bitch.
Alright, yeah, I wish I was playing that instead of this, gotta be honest.
And the other popular meme being, is that your Elden Ringing? Go pick it up.
Actually, usually the other major meme that I do know is also associating the writing of saying dog ahead with, you know, the turtles that actually patrol the different areas because they're adorable.
It's a mess.
Yep, all fictional animals are dogs. Even the cats.
Of course. Also, I forgot how the pigs here are so resilient and I basically aggro them, so I had to actually defeat them.
Yeah, things are definitely weird when you're getting out chased by pigs.
If you think that's bad, Dweebs, there's even an entire point of actually, you know, how to obtain a specific weapon, the pickaxe, is essentially to lead one of these fuckers until a very specific place where they actually will dig up the fucking thing. And it's not even like it's a powerful weapon, so it's a must-have, you know, for everyone. No, it's just bragging rights, essentially.
We got Hades a couple of days ago, and you can pet the dog there too.
Unfortunately, outside of naming, in Elden Ring you cannot actually pet the turtles. So
Well
that's
then, what is the point?
so that's definitely a -2 on the scale.
Yeah, all those 10 out of 10 scores, all bullshit. You can't pet the turtle.
You want to spend the entire part beating your own piglet, so please just die. Oh my god, and my sword is already... Yeah, I forgot if I mentioned in the previous part, but might as well. This game is, you know, in order to change something in terms of difficulty, tries to essentially, you know, making the durability of your weapons like fucking paper clips. Like, not even joking. They get consumed so easily. And it's so fucking stupid because it means that you have to essentially rest at bonfires more often than not, you know, and it just doesn't really have that much of a challenge to boot. Like, I don't really get why it was made like this, to the point where in all subsequent games, they essentially, you know, restored it to how it was in Dark Souls 1, as in, you know, not a thing that was present, but not really an issue. Alright, let's see if I can actually find a decent way. Because I know actually a place where we can go, but I'm not sure we are completely ready for it.
It's Dark Souls. No one is ever ready.
Bruh.
Exactly.
Okay, I think it's this one. Oh, look at that. It's a... Okay, Dweebs, judging by this bloodstain, maybe this chest is not super secure. Do you want to open it?
Nah.
Kiroi?
Nah.
Okay, let's leave it alone. Maybe I'll do it off screen.
Yeah, it's probably a mimic. I mean, the bloodstains are there.
Well, I didn't mention it. Outside of mimics, now this game introduces a trap chest, like in stuff that gives you like poison and stuff like that. So it's not always a guarantee. And unfortunately, this game decides also to have the case of if you hit a chest, there is a chance that the content might become worse because you actually hit it. Again, yet another pointless addition that was not kept for other games. Like, so bizarre. Okay, and where I might be now? Oh wait, I think I returned. This is the shortcut to the previous things betwixt place. Oh look, there's another chest. Let's try it out. There you go. This one is safe. The human effigy. And I died. I forgot that I was supposed to jump here. Magnificent.
That is human effigy code for you're going to die.
No, well, not kinda, but essentially those are the replacement for the humanity from the previous game. One gimmick that is introduced here is that each time you die, you start to go hollow a bit. As such, your maximum health starts decreasing up until like half of its total. So, in order to counter that and being able to say, you know, perform summons before fighting a boss, for example, you need to be in top condition as a human, everything having your humanity restored, which is where the human effigy comes in. But again, the game has kind of a limited quantities of it, so it's just yet another case where the game trivializes something pointlessly instead of actually, you know, having the difficulty. One thing for which the Taka Miyazaki games gets praised on is the fact that, you know, they managed to retain their difficulties despite, you know, despite that. Okay, sorry. They retain the challenge, but they make it so it's actually fair enough, rather than, just being a nuisance more than anything. But in here, again, so many things are added with the idea of adding an extra challenge, that the player can overcome like that. But they ended up just being annoying at best, unfortunately. And I get it, it's just experimental and everything, so of course it might not be, a thing that is kept, that we were just trying to do. Anyway, I think we actually have found the right way, finally, because...
Some of the stuff
You see? No, go on.
Some of the stuff you've said so far kind of feels like they looked at the reception the game got, particularly more in the West, and then just added a couple of things that are for the sake of difficulty rather than legitimate challenge.
Yeah.
Just tedium.
Like, I found it interesting how a lot of game journalists, unfortunately, still couldn't manage to actually enjoy properly Elden Ring, despite the fact that that actually apports a lot of quality of life improvement to its, here we go, backstab, to the gameplay formula that the previous Souls games tended to have.
The only thing these games are missing is that if you get a game over, you can never play the game again.
That is something that usually other games, like say Batman Arkham Origins, tend to have for like an extra mode after you finish the game.
No, I meant like that's it. You can never play the game ever again.
Oh,
There is actually a game that did that.
Yeah, and I mean, it would. I mean, if those are the games you had to pay for, then that would be.
Oh no, you didn't have to pay for this one, and it was also very, very short at the time. So
yeah,
it was free. It was short.
I think I know what you're talking
You
about.
probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Did you want to Elden Ring had that thing
To
where
be,
if you fail?
also, to be fair, Dweebs, okay, while not necessarily for PC games, like for console games, for PC games, a feature like that can be easily overcome by just reinstalling the game. It's not like a permanent thing. This got to the point where, say, the console version of Doki Doki Literature Club has a feature, in its OS, its fake OS system, where it allows you to reset all the settings of the game as pre you started playing, because some features of the game do include you tinkering with some of its data, so it is important that a feature like that exists.
Yeah, I was wondering how the hell you're going to incorporate the features of DDLC into a console game.
For reference audience, because you'll be able to see it soon enough, we did actually commentate it on Doki Doki Literature Club, but the vanilla version it was way before they actually announced the plus version. So unfortunately, when the videos will come out, they will seem a bit dated, but I do believe the experience that me and the others, got would be, ideal.
There were a lot of good moments in that run. So.
Alright, let me talk about this. This is the Forest of the Fallen Giants. Essentially, this place is, again, a good ideal point for a starting area. It's full of these, particularly undead souls that are actually far easier to actually farm away. The problem is, once again, the fucking durability of our weapons. It's the same problem that Breath of the Wild tends to have for a lot of people, including me. The fact that, again, you're literally hampered by what essentially should be a fun mechanic that should allow you to, experiment with different kinds of weapons, but at the end of the day, it's more of a nuisance more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it. I bought Breath of the Wild when it at the Switch came out, and I couldn't really play it for that one. It just wasn't my thing. I got more out of Super Bomberman R, which also came out on the Switch the next day.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a completely different game, but it's more of a case of the genre, you prefer a different genre.
Yeah.
Also, aside from Breath of the Wild, what was your experience with Zelda? Just curious more than anything.
I saw bits and pieces of the cartoon.
Okay, that's a
reviews,
terrible
had game
start.
Commentaries of it.
Which one?
Oh, any Zelda game. And,
okay, I wasn't expecting this. I'm getting dogpiled.
And that's about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, again, Zelda's not really my thing. In addition to trying to follow the chronology.
For me, it's mostly just Wind Waker and Link's Awakening, I think. The one that also got a remake.
Yes.
And yeah, there we go.
I mentioned this in the past, but I did try Minish Cap, but unfortunately could not get through much, but could catch my interest, and I probably should give it another try at some point, or any of the other game for that matter. Okay.
I'd like to try Majora's Mask eventually.
Another thing that they added in this version, in this game, particularly also that's valid for color of the person, but can be different, they can be changed depending on the conditions. In some cases, particularly in some dungeons like in this one, if you defeat enemies enough times, they will stop actually respawning. Again, ideally to make things a bit more easier for you. However, there is a feature in the game that allows you essentially to bypass this, because on one hand, it seems interesting on paper to actually reduce the number of encounters that you have to deal with. On the other, it's also less experience that you're getting, essentially, meaning that you have to be careful, and sometimes you will not get enough souls to actually level up as much as you want. Okay, I'm actually... Oh great, and my sword is broken. I forgot. There we go. I'm producing more effects by just punching these people. Magnificent.
If you're out of context, if someone listens to that bit, you could just easily be mistaken for playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Alright, let me put this up, because... There we go. Alright, let's scavenge these as well. A broken straight sword, magnificent. Life gem. Also, believe it or not, well, okay, not believe it or not, but like I mentioned, I think in the first part, Scholar of the First Scene is essentially the definitive version of the game that you can play, because the original state, upon which was released on the PS3 and Xbox 360, was kinda bad. The textures were kinda really bad, and they were not on par with what the tech demos had shown, even for the PC version. The enemies did not left bodies behind. This is a thing that they added for Scholar of the First Scene, and you can see by the fact that there's no collision detection and there's no ragdoll physics like in the first game. The frame rate was an absolute mess. So overall, it was just not a pleasant experience. Again, this fixes most of the problems, but unfortunately, it's not enough to save the overall product, and the overall experience is just more, a bit of a slog more than anything. Okay, so name is Soldier.
So,
Go ahead. In the meantime.
One anime I've recently been thinking about maybe checking out a bit is Naruto, seeing as Funimation has it now on their website. Have you guys seen it?
I read the manga. It was enough for me.
Yes, Tio is a manga boo. What about you, Shiri?
I haven't.
Alright, I need to jump with these.
I don't know exactly
go.
what the word is for someone who prefers manga over anime.
It really depends. It's more of a case-to-case for me. For some cases, I'm fine with both versions. Sometimes I might prefer the anime, like Excel Saga, for example. There is technically an original manga which is based on, but the anime is just on such a different level that I cannot really compare it to it. But in other cases, I do prefer actually just the original manga more than anything.
I prefer anime. I like things.
With Naruto, it's a case where I don't really care about the product in the first place, so I might just stick to the original source material.
There's two things I know about.
Oh, you piece of garbage! Sorry, not you, Lives.
I was gonna say I know a couple of things. Those make me garbage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All I know about Naruto is believe it,
That the bio.
and the filler. Like I've heard it's like again, you know, filler isn't necessarily bad all by itself. But from what I understand, they got really egregious with it.
More like with not much of creativity, yes, Fury?
I also know that it's a series that, even by anime standards, is very heavy on the flashbacks.
Yeah, true. It's also it also the way it ended. Like the final boss, essentially, what considered is kind of a letdown, especially after the previous villains that they had established, like Orochimaru and Itachi. And the way it ends, the particular way it ends, particularly in assigning the OTP couples, it's again also egregious on how
Yeah, like I heard,
Masashi Kishimoto did.
yeah, from what I understand, the one that really worked was the main one.
And I even will disagree with that. Not in a sense that it's a bad couple in itself, but I kind of always like the idea message that Naruto as a character in terms of growth would understand that, you know, having a love relationship would be not distracting, not necessarily distracting, but more of a case of understanding of being an Hokage, responsibility of being a leader and everything, and he has to realize that the crush that he had on Hinata was more of a childish kind of thing, and essentially growing up as a result. But I don't really think it was the worst decision ever, because it's not technically, you know, wrong with that, much less so with the other one that Kishimoto did. But yeah, let's just say that the character of Sakura has always been mistreated, you know, from pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah, that's the thing though. When it comes to manga like that, the main female characters almost always get the shaft
Depends.
for whatever reason. Like even My Hero Academia's been really egregious with it. Like, again, I won't go too much into spoilers, but I won't say who necessarily, but one dies off panel.
I can tell you this, Nami in One Piece actually became better with time. Well, not necessarily better with time because she was bad first, but it's more of a case of, you know, a consistent good scaling. It also helps that Eiichiro Oda is not really too much focused on characters having necessarily love relationships at all costs more than anything. Which is, you know, more appreciated than forcing a love story where it doesn't belong.
Well, I mean, his wife used to play Nami in like live action stuff. So.
There's a bit of favoritism, you say.
I'm not necessarily saying that.
But what I can say is that magically, you know, Nami's bust kind of became a bit bigger as time passed. So yes, there might be actual BS.
Yeah, although to be fair, from what I understand, it's not like he it's not like he hasn't given other characters.
No, the only criticism that I heard in terms of, too much sexualization when it comes to One Piece is during the Dressrosa arc, which is the one that I'm currently reading right now. So I'm not too caught up with what the controversy might be. But so I'll be able to update in the future on that front. But otherwise, One Piece is more of a story that is focused on adventuring more than anything. So. There's that. When it comes to the relationship between the characters, it's strictly about friendship more than anything.
Oh, so I was looking up Excel Saga. It's from the studio that made it is JC Staff. I mainly know them from Slayers.
Oh, that's also another good anime.
Yeah, I've seen the second series.
The thing that you have to understand is that the original manga was already kind of comedic in nature on its own, but the anime kind of takes it on a new level because the director, I forgot what's his specific name, but he goes for the nickname Nabeshin, kind of decides to take, aside from taking some liberties, he literally self-insert himself in some kind of fashion, particularly some comedic skits, and revamps a bit the plot so that it has a lot of comedic, sort of slice of life, kind of single episode, and then at the end he pretends they were all connected together because one of the challenges that he does is to have one of the later episodes to be strictly serious without any jokes whatsoever, and it works, believe it or not. So that's actually pretty cool. Alright, in the meantime, after lighting this bonfire up, well, we have a merchant which we found here. Let's talk to her. Also, you got something on your arm. Yes, yes, Grandma, don't worry, I will buy everything from you. Alright, let's see. Weapon-wise, she doesn't have really that much interesting.
Yeah, just yeah, you better give her some money, otherwise she'll put a curse on your family.
Oh, look at that! It's the key we were looking for. The Leningrad key, the one that opens the actual blacksmith. Majula, the land of exiles, is comprised of abandoned old houses, one of which Leningrad had functioned into a workshop. So let's get it.
Yeah, basically, I think I mentioned this before, but there's this Ryder Alton Towers that has a law where this woman begged for money from a rich guy passing by, but you were like, God, press off. So the woman cursed him by, like, for every branch of the old oak tree that fell, one member of your family would die, and lo and behold, it happened, and the guy became obsessed with getting rid of the curse, and hence the ride. The ride
Anyway,
is actually one of those indoor swing things, where it swings around the room. No, about around, I mean all around. Like, it goes like a full 360 at one point, and you're actually sitting and you're sitting with the cursed tree branch in the middle.
anyway, our other items that we can buy from here are the UN effigies, again, always useful. The Amber Herb doesn't really. It's more for a spell build, and even then they're not really particularly useful. The fire bombs at this point are always useful, but the important things are a fragrant branch of yore and a Pharaoh's lockstone. These items tend to unlock stuff for later, particular stuff. But as you can see, they're very costly in terms of souls. But don't worry, if you can talk to the old lady again, which called Valencia, if I recall correctly, she will move eventually to Majula and set up shop there, so she's not gonna be missed or die off screen and everything. So thankfully we cannot buy everything from here now, we can actually, return later.
Any of you guys ever been on rides that had a weird lore attached to it?
Not really. Okay, the closest I can tell you, hold on, give me a second. In the meantime, I will just return to Majula for leveling up and actually opening up the locksmith house. But the closest one that I could tell you was a ride meant for very little kids that I've actually been, because I was supposed to accompany, a cousin or anything. That is essentially this called Magic House, which literally, like, it's a bit weird because it's a closed space, and the attraction just basically rotates around and around, and it gives you the impression that the objects in the house are, moving all over the place. So it's a bit weird.
I think, like, the only thing I would have been on is something similar to that as well.
Alright, let's open up the blacksmith house.
Ah, yes, very good.
Ba-ba-da-ba.
Blacksmith and steal his innards.
But first,
Why would you do
set
that?
up. Come again later.
Because he's a blacksmith, he probably hides something in that body of his. Because his blood is black with evil or something. I don't know.
No, not really. But essentially what it tells us is the next time that we come back here, you will be able to set shop and actually, give us his service. But let's use the souls in the meantime also to level up a bit. Yeah, bear seek last. Alright, let's see. We can only level up one. We actually have one level. Yeah, let's level up adaptability. Fortunately, adaptability is essentially the stat that essentially allows you to break the game in half, so it's probably for the best. Alright, let's return to where we were.
Yeah, I gotta be be honest. So far, this game's not really all that bad. It's just kind of
It's
uninteresting.
more frustrating more than anything, I can tell you that. There are a lot of things to enjoy about this game, I can tell you that. And I don't really regret the experience, because again, by this point I already have beaten it once. But it's really, it's compared to the journey from the first game, again, it's much, much more frustrating, unfortunately. Alright, there's a locked door. You know what that means. Let's barge our way in for this one. Oh, lizard! Look here!
Pet it.
No, I want. Yeah, God damn it! I was
Well, that's what
supposed
you
to
get
kill
for
it.
barging your way in.
Alright, let's get at
there's,
least this treasure. And
ladies and
that's
gentlemen,
all.
that is the moral of the story. Don't barge into rooms.
That have lizards in them.
Yeah, specifically those. Otherwise, that will happen to you.
Alright, there's another chest here. Doesn't seem to be. Oh, sorry. I have to deal with this guy first. My bad. Backstaboo. There we go. Alright, like I was saying, there don't seem to be blood stain around this chest, so it seems more safe. Do you want me to open it, Waves?
Again, I'm not trusting treasure chests at this point.
Shiroi?
Try this one.
Alright, let's resolve things with the coin toss. Alright, let's open it.
Kill this Siri.
It's just more heavy more than anything, no. And we get a small white sign soapstone and a radiant life gem. If you forgot, the soapstones are used to, give messages or anything. But in the case of the white, if I recall correctly, it's the one that we use also to leave a sign that allows us to be summoned in case. But it's not really a feature that we'll do. We're gonna have one or two cases to showcase also, the multiplayer of these for, just to showcase how it is. But it's not gonna be a particular experience, I can tell that, especially compared to the first game. Alright, let's deal once again with this guy.
Damn Xbox Store, way to give away one of the biggest plot points in Spider-Man No Way Home.
I'm sorry, what?
Basically, I was just looking through my, I was just taking a quick look through my Xbox thing, and it showed one of that major plot point in Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm like, geez, guys, spoil as much?
No
I
wonder.
still have not been spoiled on anything from that movie.
No wonder Sony had to put those disclaimers about, don't spoil stuff. Although Deji told me they became a bit obnoxious on that front. Oh shit. There we go. There we go. Alright, oh, I forgot there was another guy behind me, this time with a spear.
I've seen some of the posters and they very much remind me, like the no spoilers posters, they very much remind me of the no piracy Sonic CD.
Like,
screen.
okay, not necessarily for Sonic, I can kinda get what you're... In terms of also of campaigning, it does remind me a bit of the whole, oh, you wouldn't download a car kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, it's a bit probably hard to see, especially because Twitch doesn't really like when I showcase fire particle effects. But under here, there's a lot of fire and a salamander with googly eyes and everything. I can tell you already, if I jump down, I'm just gonna die, and trust me, the salamanders are bitches to actually deal with. So trust me on that front, it's best if we just, wait a bit on that. Alright, here we have a soldier that we can... Oh, there we go. No. Go away.
No. What's this, Transformers?
Forgot, I think behind that one there is the boss fight, but we're not nearly ready for it. Especially because there's like other people we need to talk with beforehand. There we go. If I recall correctly, this door is locked, but I think I can break it. No? Okay. Let's get this treasure. Soul of a Lost Undead. Yeah, also another thing, this game is particularly infamous for its very inconsistent hit detection. In a sense that there's a lot of cases where it makes you believe you're actually, supposed to backstab someone because you're actually facing, the back, but you're not actually doing anything. And you're just inflicting a regular hit for no real adequate reason.
That sounds terrible considering, it's this game.
It's particularly vital to understand where and when you're hitting someone. So,
Although I have looked a bit into the newer, the more recent one, Boruto,
the series.
and I noticed that the dub is kind of copying the sub of Dragon Ball, in that the main character, I should say the former main character of Naruto, is still voiced by the same actress in spite of that particular character being like 40, 30.
I guess it's more of a case where, for consistency's sake, like, did she not even try to actually sound older?
That I don't know. All I know is that it's the same person. I still think it's a bit. I mean, although again, I haven't heard the Dragon Ball one much either, so I won't comment much on that either. Although I will say both are kind of a bit weird. It sounds kind of weird to me. I mean, you have a character who's like clearly like 30-old, and they still sound like they're 10. And yeah, I know. 2 series. One about magic and finding Dragon Balls, and the other one about trying to be the best brightly dressed ninja. But still.
The ninja with the drip.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. How the hell? I thought ninjas were supposed to be the secretive type that operate in the shadows. They go in, get the job done, then leave before you even know they're there.
This is actually why one of my probably my favorite character from Naruto is, one of the early villains that doesn't really contribute much to the scheme of things. It's more of a villain of the week kind of deal. It's called Zabuza Momoshi. It's essentially one that acts in one of the very early arcs of the Ninjas of the Fogs as a massive sword, more than anything. And his backstory is more about, more manipulation of, and the fact that he's essentially more of a trial that the characters have to, endure. And even then, he proves to be even more of an obstacle to the point where their mentor, Kakashi, actually has to intervene. Again, it kind of becomes a bit tense. It makes situation, come off a bit tense. So it's actually a good type of early villains. I kind of wished the following ones were, on the same level, but
yeah. For a second
okay. Sorry,
for a second there, I thought you were going to say the guy's main motivation is to point out how stupid everyone is.
No.
Partly coloured clothing, and yet they're supposed to be secretive ninjas.
No, okay, that's the reason why I mentioned it. Again, he also is. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. He actually is the one that probably is the most consistent, with clothes and everything. So the only major difference is that he just has a BFS more than anything. So it's more of a case of just having an heavy weapon that hinders you more than the traditional kunais. Alright, let me give it one more try.
40 minutes.
Alright, we still have a bit more to go, so let's proceed. Again, much like the Undead Burg in the first game, this level is not really too much difficult. It's more of a case of having some minor annoyance more than anything. There we go. And just more spending time gathering resources and exploring the area, which again fits in the spirit of the Souls series. So there is that. This is probably why Elden Ring, manages to work even with the open world formula, because it encompasses essentially this core philosophy, just blow up to a more exponential kind of level. A lot of people tend to complain a bit about recycled, bosses, depending on the mini dungeon, but I really don't mind, considering there's still a huge amount of variety anyway, and, they also managed to work out, that's more impressive to me, the fact that they managed to put in so much content in Elden Ring and managed to make it work. Like, it could have been easily a problem like this one, but... Alright.
Who published Elden Ring?
Bandai Namco. It's essentially the same type of contract that From Software had when it comes to these games. Again, I'm mostly convinced that the only reason why it's a new IP and not essentially Dark Souls 4 is because they wanted just to have a fresh start when it comes to lore, and I don't really blame them. Dark Souls 3 felt really conclusive, and going after that would have felt a bit... not cheating, but potentially complicated in terms of having the proper lore. Unless it's like one of the probably inevitable DLCs for Elden Ring tries to, not retcon things, but tries to put a spin on things and say, oh, this is a new world born from the ashes of the one from Dark Souls, which I guess could be possible, but I can easily live without it, and it works for the better with the new mythology they created. Although, it's still interesting because the fans still are curious how much the actual contribution that George R.R. Martin actually did to the game. We know that the credits do specifically mention that both him and Hidetaka Miyazaki came up with the concept, but if you know anything about the Song of Ice and Fire / A Game of Thrones, you know that, George R.R. Martin is more about writing grounded stuff, stuff involving strictly humans and only a pinch of mythology, while Miyazaki, and to an extension also how Elden Ring is at the end, is chock full of different kinds of mythologies, dragons, monsters of all kind, that kind of stuff. So it's kinda curious to see exactly how the two coordinated things. Anyway, let's see this message. Be wary of fire. I wonder. Should we go deep inside this cave? There's a treasure in there, Dweebs.
I don't trust the fire.
It's warm, Shiroi?
I don't like the heat, so no, let's not.
Alright, decision taken. Alright, I need to be careful because this particular enemy is a bit of a bitch. If I recall correctly, I cannot backstab him.
Yeah, I thought you said be careful, you're fired. I'm like, wait,
We were not going in that direction.
No.
yeah. Our main villain is Mr. McMahon.
It was me all along, Austin.
Yeah, you're fired.
Alright, our shield doesn't really do much, so might as well go two-hand in this. Ow! I got bonked.
There's no jail to go in.
Thankfully. Although,
Yeah.
okay, the only major case is actually Bloodborne. If you actually get KO'd by a guy with a... I think that guy actually has either a wooden pole, something like the long stick, or is a sack. You actually get kidnapped and put in a specific jail or a dungeon that you're supposed to get way later on in the game. So there is a bit
That
of
sounds more
cheekiness.
convenient than anything, actually.
Actually, yes. There's actually again a sort of a challenge. Not even it was a challenge, but something akin to that that the players love to have is actually to go there potentially. There's a similar thing in Dark Souls 3, which you are actually not killed, but if you find an enemy that that normally will fight you, actually climb in the cage that is porting behind his back, it will actually take you to an area that that actually allows you to get into a covenant that you normally wouldn't get, and if anything, there we go. Oh my god, we mutually killed each other. Okay.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh, that is a Hitman kill. Make the enemies kill each other.
Unfortunately, I was the player character, so as much as that probably causes a chuckle to Agent 47, we kinda needed to stay alive. Alright, I'm gonna retrieve the souls and probably conclude after that.
Yeah. I've always beaten Hitman 3. I mean, I haven't been able to. I started Hitman 3 earlier on the day we were recording this, and not too long after. Seriously, it's near the end of the day, and I'm on the penultimate mission of 3 already.
It's a short game, you say?
I think the vibe IO were going for was less levels, but more stuff to do in those levels, and all the levels.
More sandbox, I get it.
Yeah, that's Hitman's thing, sandbox, except Absolution.
No, I get it. I actually seen a couple of streams from a person that's called Soundsmith, normally specializing in Team Fortress 2 content, but he has done a couple of, Hitman, kind of videos, so I get exactly the idea of having a level where you can just, experiment with what you do.
Yeah, again, except in Absolution, ATO, stop me if this sounds familiar. A game released in 2012 that's more linear than other ones in the series, and has a really silly plot, and it's from Square Enix.
I guess you're comparing it to Final Fantasy 13, although that was released in 2010.
Didn't 13.2 have that issue too?
13.2 was a bit more or less linear. They actually tried to listen to the complaints. It's not really an improvement overall. It's because unfortunately they could not do miracles, anything. But
yeah.
The story is definitely silly. I can tell you that.
So I guess Square's ethos in general was more linear levels. Like, even spread to their European bits.
Depends. Again, we probably did not have a choice on that front, potentially.
Although, actually, that's the thing. IO Interactive have said that even after Square Enix took over, nothing really changed that much.
No.
They were still getting as much creative freedom as they were under IDOS.
Again, that's the thing. Square Enix, it's one of the cases where Square Enix just had no idea what to do with with the IDOS property. Not necessarily in a sense that they hated that or they forced them under potential crunch. Probably that might have happened in one case or another, not excluding the possibility. But it wasn't really a case where change of corporation that owns you changes literally everything. Again, it still baffled me, just like when it happened, but because again, a company like Square Enix gaining all these Western properties, which did showcase that they had no idea what to do with them, just felt a bit bizarre. I would have expected someone like Ubisoft, at that point, mind you, to acquire someone like Eidos, because at that point, a company like that was more kind of fitting in how they were behaving in terms of some of these properties.
Okay, now you mentioned Ubisoft,
It's a pick your poison situation.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I mentioned before, when Hitman didn't really work out for Square could have easily have just folded EA and threw IO into the cold. And basically just sealed up Hitman for no one to ever use again. But no, they just sold it to IO's executives, and
they probably thought it was the more profitable, option for them to do.
I mean, yeah, IO did suffer a bit. They had to lay off half their staff, and Hitman 2, or Hitman 2 2018, I should say, did have to cut a few corners, but
with the episodic nature. I take
Yeah,
it.
not that necessarily. I mean, the 2016 one was like that too. But no, mainly it was affecting the cutscenes. The FMV ones, I should say, not the in-game ones. The FMV ones, they were fully animated in 1, and I can tell you they are fully animated in 3. But 2 had to do just really stylized still images.
I get it. Well, again, it's understandable. I don't really have, I don't want to be too critical on that.
Yeah, although funny story, I was looking at the cast list for the trilogy.
Fuck! Sorry, go on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I was
retrieve the
looking,
souls and conclude. Go on.
and the actress that voices Diana Birdwood in those games, Jane Perry, her early stuff included the Canadian dubs of Dragon Ball Z.
Well, you'd be surprised, like, how many people who work on Dragon Ball Z Canadian dub still manage to get, proper work.
She was Mrs. Brief.
Um, the Bulma's mother. But like,
Also, the stream just caught up. My condolences.
the I forgot the name. The guy who voiced Vegeta became famous in the Warhammer 40k video games, for example. So there is that technically. And Scott McNeil is always a blast, technically. So
That's the thing, though. Her early career was like doing anime, like Galaxy Express 999,
that's another cool
Canadian
one.
Dragon Ball Z, and then there was Night Warriors Darkstalker's Revenge in 1998. Her next voiced role, okay, she's probably did live action ones in between, but her next voiced role was in 2012.
Again,
Quite like Gap, she was the voice double for Dr. Goodhead in 007 Legends and stuff.
again, it happens. Things like that happen. All right.
And then it's because the Diana's character is British and yet Jane Perry is Canadian. And to be fair, her British accent is good.
Alright, one last thing, let's just try a bit this blacksmith. We can again repair, but we don't really need it, to be honest. Reinforce is actually more appreciated if we have the Titanite for it, which I think we do have. Yes, we do have one Titanite shard. But we can also buy stuff, like, here we go, like the aforementioned Titanite shards. So let's do a symbolic reinforcement to our sword. Hopefully we'll be improve things a bit. Alright, so with this out of the way, tune in next time where we continue our journey through the forest of the fallen giants. See ya!
See ya.